Ferrari did not leave Barcelona with one story. It left with two. Lewis Hamilton crossed the line as a winner, gave Ferrari a historic victory, broke Michael Schumacher's Barcelona record, and made Vasseur's biggest gamble look like genius. But Charles Leclerc's race ended early after a qualifying crash, and a reported power steering problem left Ferrari with only one car to fight at the front. Same team, same weekend, completely different reality. And that contrast is the problem Ferrari cannot hide, because Hamilton's side of the garage looks like the beginning of a championship threat. Leclerc's side looks like a warning that Ferrari's 2026 project is still split, fragile, and unfinished. One red car became history. The other became a question mark. And if Ferrari cannot turn Hamilton's breakthrough into a two-car weapon, Barcelona may not be remembered only as the day Ferrari came back. It may be remembered as the day everyone saw the division starting to form. Subscribe to the channel. Before Barcelona, Ferrari's season looked like it was finally beginning to breathe again. Not because everything was solved, because for the first time in a long time, there was proof that the new project could actually win. Hamilton had arrived at Ferrari with a story almost too big to handle. A 7-time world champion leaving Mercedes, the team where he built most of his legend, to chase the one dream that had followed him since childhood. Winning in red, winning for Maranello, winning in the car that had once belonged to the heroes he watched before he became one himself. But dreams do not survive in Formula One unless the stopwatch protects them. And during Hamilton's first season with Ferrari, the stopwatch was not kind. The car was difficult. The rhythm was missing. The confidence did not arrive naturally. Ferrari did not look like the perfect final chapter. It looked like a team still searching for the key to a door it had promised Hamilton would open. That created pressure around the whole garage, but it did not hit both drivers in the same way. Hamilton's pressure was the pressure of the outsider becoming the center of attention. The new arrival, the champion brought in to change the emotional temperature of Ferrari. Every time he struggled, the world asked whether the move had been a mistake. Leclerc's pressure was different. He was not the new dream. He was the driver who had already lived through Ferrari's pain. Leclerc had been there through seasons of hope, frustration, missed chances, sudden promise, and weekends where the red car looked close enough to win, but not complete enough to control the fight. He knew what Ferrari expectation felt like before Hamilton ever arrived. And that is why Barcelona became so uncomfortable, because Hamilton's victory did not happen in isolation. It happened beside Leclerc's absence. That contrast gave the weekend its hidden edge. On paper, Ferrari won. Emotionally, Hamilton won. Strategically, the pit wall won. But across the whole team, Barcelona also exposed a problem that victory could not fully cover. Ferrari had one car in the story and one car removed from it. That is not a small detail. In modern Formula One, one-car success can look spectacular, but it is rarely enough over a full season. A team fighting Mercedes, McLaren, Red Bull, and a championship leader like Kimi Antonelli cannot rely on one driver carrying every result. It needs both sides of the garage alive. It needs both drivers applying pressure. It needs both cars forcing rivals into difficult choices. Barcelona did not give Ferrari that. It gave Ferrari Hamilton at his most controlled and Leclerc at his most interrupted. That is the division. Not anger, not open conflict, not a dramatic falling out. A split in momentum, a split in opportunity, a split in how the same Ferrari weekend was experienced by the two drivers wearing red. Hamilton arrived in Barcelona carrying a drought. He had not won a Grand Prix since Belgium in 2024. That weight had become part of every conversation around him. Every near miss made it heavier. Every strong performance without a win became another reminder that the Ferrari dream still had no trophy. But the new Ferrari had begun to offer him something his first car in red did not. Feeling, the ability to trust the car, the ability to manage tires, the ability to sit close behind Mercedes without destroying his own race, the ability to stay patient while the strategy built around him. That is exactly what happened in Barcelona. Hamilton qualified second. George Russell started on pole for Mercedes. Antonelli, the 19-year-old championship leader, started third. Hamilton was positioned between the team he had left behind and the young driver helping that team dominate the early season. The symbolism was impossible to miss. Hamilton was no longer only racing for points. He was racing against the idea that Mercedes had moved on without him. And from the start, he drove like a man who understood that the race could not be forced. Russell led. Hamilton followed. Antonelli waited behind. The early laps were not explosive, but they were tense because Hamilton had to do two things at once. He had to pressure the Mercedes ahead, and he had to protect the tires beneath him. That balance was the first sign that Ferrari's car was finally working for him. In 2025, the car had often looked like something Hamilton had to survive. In Barcelona, it looked like something he could use. He was not fighting every corner. He was shaping the race, saving what he needed, keeping Ferrari close enough for the pit wall to make a bold move later. That is what a complete driver does when the car gives him trust. He does not panic. He waits. Leclerc's weekend moved in the opposite direction. His chance to shape the race was damaged before the race even reached its most important phase. A crash in the final part of qualifying meant his starting position and rhythm were compromised. Then, during the Grand Prix, a reported power steering problem ended his race. That detail matters because it removed Leclerc from the tactical battle. And when one Ferrari disappears, the whole race changes. With two cars, Ferrari can ask Mercedes more questions. One driver can attack early, the other can extend a stint. One car can pressure Russell, the other can force Antonelli or Norris to react. One driver can become the bait, the other the blade. With one car, Ferrari has only one path. That path can still win, and Hamilton proved it. But it is narrower, more fragile, more exposed. And that is why Hamilton's victory and Leclerc's retirement have to be understood together. Hamilton showed Ferrari's ceiling. Leclerc showed Ferrari's vulnerability. The ceiling was spectacular. A perfectly judged race. A bold three-stop strategy. An instant reaction under the virtual safety car. A late Mercedes failure that changed the championship picture. A win that broke records and transformed the mood around Maranello. But the vulnerability was real too. A second Ferrari, unable to finish. A lost chance to score. A lost chance to support the strategy. A weekend where one side of the garage became the center of history, while the other side became a reminder that Ferrari's 2026 is not yet complete. That is not Leclerc's failure alone. That is the point. This is not about blaming Leclerc for a power steering problem. It is not about pretending one qualifying crash defines his season. It is not about saying Ferrari has already chosen one driver over the other. The issue is bigger. A divided season can begin without anyone choosing division. It can begin through events. One driver gets the clean weekends. The other gets the disrupted ones. One driver builds momentum. The other keeps rebuilding from setbacks. One driver becomes the story of revival. The other becomes the story of what went wrong. And slowly, perception changes. That is dangerous at Ferrari because perception has weight. Ferrari is not a quiet team. A normal imbalance can become a national debate. A strategic difference can become a theory. A bad weekend can become evidence. A great weekend for one driver can become pressure on the other before he has even sat in the car again. Hamilton's Barcelona win was the kind of result that shifts gravity. It pulls attention toward him. Not because Ferrari necessarily wants to ignore Leclerc, because history pulls attention by itself. When a 41-year-old Hamilton wins his first race for Ferrari, becomes the oldest winner in the modern era, takes his 106th career victory, and moves ahead of Schumacher at Barcelona, the world turns toward that side of the garage. It has to. The moment is too big. But that leaves Leclerc with a problem. He cannot simply be good next time. He has to answer the contrast. And that is a different challenge. Because Hamilton did not just have a strong race. He had a narrative-defining race. He gave Ferrari its emotional proof. He thanked the team over the radio. He spoke about the dream becoming real. He turned the whole project from a question into a victory. Leclerc needs his own Barcelona moment. Not necessarily at Barcelona, but soon. Because when one driver's season becomes a symbol of belief, the other driver cannot afford to become a symbol of interruption. That is the first major divide Ferrari now faces. The results do not only affect points, they affect identity. Is 2026 Ferrari the team where Hamilton's experience unlocks a new winning era? Or is it the team where Hamilton's breakthrough masks the fact that Leclerc's side still cannot get clean enough weekends? That question is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. Because Ferrari's championship ambitions depend on the answer. Antonelli's late retirement cut his championship lead over Hamilton to 41 points. That made the title fight feel alive again. But it also increased the pressure on Ferrari to score with both cars. Mercedes will not disappear. Russell finished second. Norris put McLaren on the podium. Verstappen remained in the top group. The season is too competitive for Ferrari to win only through isolated brilliance. Hamilton can drag Ferrari into the fight, but Leclerc has to help keep it there. That is why Barcelona was both a breakthrough and a warning. A breakthrough because Ferrari proved it could win. A warning because it proved it with only one car fully in the fight. And the longer you look at it, the harder it becomes to celebrate without asking the next question. What happens when Hamilton does not get the perfect virtual safety car window? What happens when Mercedes has both cars cleanly in play? What happens when McLaren pressures Ferrari from both sides? What happens when Red Bull forces a strategy split? What happens when one Ferrari cannot cover every threat? That is where Leclerc becomes essential. Not optional. Essential. Ferrari does not need Leclerc because of sentiment. It needs him because championships are built through pressure from both cars. It needs him because one driver cannot cover every strategy. It needs him because every point matters when Antonelli still leads. It needs him because Hamilton's win will only become a title charge if Ferrari turns the whole team into a weapon. Barcelona showed the dream, but it also showed the missing piece. And that is what makes the Hamilton versus Leclerc contrast so powerful. It is not a fight between hero and villain. It is a split-screen view of Ferrari's present. On one side, the polished version. Hamilton calm, strategic, emotional, historic, finally aligned with the car and the team. On the other side, the disrupted version. Leclerc crashing in the final qualifying phase, then retiring with a technical problem, unable to influence the battle that defined Ferrari's biggest day. Same race, same team, two realities. And that is why Block 1 ends with a warning Ferrari cannot ignore. Hamilton's victory proved Ferrari can touch the top again. Leclerc's absence proved Ferrari has not yet built the full foundation underneath it. If the team solves that divide, Barcelona may become the beginning of a championship surge. If it does not, Hamilton's historic win may become something far more uncomfortable. A perfect spotlight on the side of Ferrari that works, and a shadow over the side that still needs answers. Then the race moved into the phase where Ferrari's contrast became impossible to hide. Because at the front, Hamilton was building something. Behind the scenes, Ferrari strategists were reading the race, calculating tire life, watching Mercedes, and waiting for the one opportunity that could turn second place into victory. Hamilton was doing exactly what the plan demanded. He was close enough to matter, calm enough to preserve the car, and disciplined enough to keep the strategy alive.